Okay. Well, Liz, firstly, congratulations on being inducted to the Hall of Fame. How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's a great honour. I mean, I was really surprised when I saw the email come through, and yeah, no, it is. It's great to be honoured, and I had a long career, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And if I could do it all over again, I'd go straight back there tomorrow.
Well, your old mate, your old rival, your nemesis, Michelle Martin's just been inducted as a legend to the Hall of Fame, and it must have been a bit like batting with Bradman. I mean, why was she so good?
Well, yeah, she technically she was very good. She was also mentally very strong, and very tough to play. So, I couldn't quite, do it on the day when it really counted. And I think she was just able to do it. So she's a great champion.
So were you. I mean, you're number 2 in the world. In the 90s, you lasted a long while. You won 9 titles in the tour. It would have been a lot more if Michelle hadn't been there. Is there one title that stands out that you're most proud of?
I think probably, look, it was always a great moment to make the final of the British Open. Whether you win it or you lose it, it's really probably the greatest moment to walk out onto the court and play the final. I think that's probably my greatest moment, yeah.
Well, you've been living over in Holland and coaching there for over a decade now. Why did you go there in the first place?
Well, I only came here for a year. I thought maybe a year's break would be quite nice. I found I was getting a few injuries, and a break was going to do me good. And I had this opportunity to come to a club which I had played at in the past, and I really loved the club. And I thought, yeah, that'd be great. Just a year in Holland, experience living in another culture, like for a proper year. And it just, every year I thought, well, maybe another year. And, before I know it, it's 5 years. And I think, gosh, I think I'm going to be here for a while. And so, yeah, it just sort of started from there.
Do you speak Dutch?
Not very well. It's a very difficult language.
Double Dutch.
It is double Dutch.
But you've done so well. It's been a great success. It's a real credit to you. And your star performer, Nicole David, has been number 1 for the past 5 years. You must be so proud of her achievements.
Oh, she's tremendous. I mean, even though I never got to number 1, I feel as though I'm living it, every day with her. And she's just a tremendous person, a tremendous athlete, and an absolute asset to the game. And I feel very privileged that she chose me, to work with us. So it's been a great partnership.
Well, you must be very good because you're certainly getting the results. Tell us a bit more about the Centre of Excellence. What do you provide there?
Well, I've built it up over the years, and really it sort of started as sort of thinking, well, I was there for a long time. I could see that there wasn't a lot of opportunities for the girls, to work with other former female top players, and I just felt I had a lot to offer. So I started up the academy, and I've had players, coming and going for the last 10 years quite consistently, and I absolutely love it. I love giving back to the game. I really love it when I see results, and it's been tremendous.
And you work with everyone at every level, from club players right through to the world number 1.
I love it. I love teaching beginners. I think it's fantastic how hard they try, and it makes you realise what a difficult game it is to learn. When you've been brought up in a sport, and I was lucky, through my mum, Jenny, she taught me how to love the game and to be around the sport. And for me, it was quite easy to be a reasonably good player, and when you're coaching it, you just realise it's not easy. It's very difficult. So, no, I love teaching all, aspects of this, from beginner to advanced to elite athlete to aspiring, club player, whatever. I love it.
I know you've made Jenny very proud, and she's with us here tonight. Was she a great influence, the biggest influence on your becoming such a good player?
Well, I think, absolutely. Just, being around squash, learning through osmosis, I guess, is you can't buy that. It's amazing experience, and to be around players like, Rhonda Thorne and Vicky Cardwell and all our top Australian players that used to play at the club that Mum ran, was just tremendous for me to watch as a young junior player, and they've been great influences for me as well. So, and Mum never pushed me, so I think that's why I probably still love the game. I'm still involved, and I've never been tired of it.
Vanessa Atkinson, one of your star proteges, says she liked working with you so much because of your empathy, particularly with female players. Now, what problems do female players have that men don't have?
Well, I think confidence and self-esteem for female players. They need to be really encouraged, not bullied into learning, or to be made to feel a little bit worthless in what they're doing. So I do coach with a lot of positivity. I try to make them feel confident and feel good about what they're doing, and I think that's, I guess, maybe my best asset, that I feel as though I can get the best out of them personally, which you can then see how that filters down into the way they learn the game and want to learn to love the game.
You're a great believer in technique, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, my technique always needed working on, and I continued to work on it. I still probably do. It's like a golf swing, I guess. You still always feel you can hit it better. So I feel as though I have learned a lot about technique over the years, and I really do believe in how that can help you master the game well, on top of many other aspects, of course. But I feel that that's a part that I do enjoy teaching.
And you coach online too, don't you?
Well, yes. Well, not now. That was a friend. He's an artist, and he asked me would I help him with some information for him to develop a coaching website, Guide to Squash. And it was a fun project, and I think it's still online, but we haven't really done much with it for a few years. So, but I think it's good information. It's great for club players. I always tell my beginners, if it's online, have a look, and it's just a little sort of additive and a bit of free coaching. So.
You played in a fabulous era for Australian women's squash. In the 90s, you won 4 world teams titles in a row. Why was Australia so dominant then?
I think we were just a really good group of players coming through, and we pushed each other along. We had tremendous help. I think, the Institute of Sport started up, and Heather Mackay, I feel, was a great influence on all of us, as well as Jeff Hunt. And so, when you're around such great people and a well-organised sort of training setup, that's bound to, push you along and inspire you. And the fact that we all went through together, even if, some of us were 2 years ahead or 2 years behind, something was right. And I think, we just sort of were very committed. And I think out of probably 5 or 6 of us that were all coming through, we all got to 1 and 2 in the world. So something was working, and it'd be great to get back to sort of looking at those aspects and think, well, why was it so good then? Why don't we try and look back at that and see how we can filter those ideas and concepts and encouragement for players, rather than lose a lot of players at the moment.
And now you're sharing it with the bloody Europeans.
Exactly. Trust me, I'd rather Australia.
Tell me what a typical day is for you at Squash City Club.
Well, when I'm very busy, I am very busy. It sort of goes up and down depending on when the pro players are around. So I normally have around, say, 4 to 6 professional players at a time. Any more is a little bit too much for me to balance. And then my club coaching is sort of in the late afternoon to the early evening. So some days, really, I'm doing around sort of 7 hours on court. 8 hours is really the maximum, and I don't do many of those days, but when I have to, I just sort of get my head down and get on with it. But normally around sort of 4 to 5 hours a day. I start around 10 in the morning, and I can go on and off court until around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. But then I have my weekends free, and I really enjoy that time, and I think that's worked out as a really good balance for me. So, but when the pro players aren't there, I start at around 4 in the afternoon, so I do enjoy my free time then. So that's good. It's a good balance.
We talked about Nicole, but what about the emerging talent? Who are the ones to watch over the next couple of years?
Well, there's some good young players coming through from Europe and also America. This young Amanda Sobey, a 17-year-old world junior champion, I've had her come to train for a couple of periods, and yeah, she's a tremendous player, great talent, very strong, and a good head on her shoulders. But she's going to go to Harvard University, so not sure where she'll go from there. Often when they go to university, it sort of halts their progress a little bit on the world rankings and getting in amongst top professional players. So she's a tremendous talent. She's got a great future if she wants it. Camilla Serme from France, very nice player, very professional in her approach, which is great to see. Yeah, well, England are always having players come through, but at the moment they're fairly established. So I think probably Camilla Serme from France and the young Egyptian players, they're fun to watch. They're, you know, crafty little things on the court. So it's always nice to see that. So there's a few good talents coming through from different countries.
Does an Australian player, a young ambitious player, say a girl from Brisbane who wants to reach the top, have to go and base herself in Europe now?
Yeah, I think it's important to learn how to survive and to make your own decisions and find your own way. If your hand's held too much, I don't know if that's a good thing. Where on the other hand, with Nicole, she's been extremely well funded from the very beginning, and she works very well with the process and being looked after. So it depends on the player. But again, if she'd stayed in Malaysia, she probably wouldn't be as successful as she is now. So I think it's just good for the athlete to get away from home and learn how to sort of survive and play under tougher conditions and deal with the pressures, you know. So I think, yeah, very important.
You certainly did it, didn't you?
Yes, I had very good moments and I had very bad moments, but but something keeps you in there, you know. And it's again, if you love the game, you'll get through the downs and you'll be enjoying the successes, but you've just got to learn how to handle the losses and disappointment and all that sort of thing, and deal with injuries. And yeah, there's a lot. It's tough, you know. There's a lot of sacrifice, leaving your family for a long time, relationships, whatever they be. And yeah, if you're really committed, then it's a great career. You know, there's a lot more opportunities today financially for players. You know, they can go on and make a very good living coaching or in other programs, and the prize money is getting better, contracts, all those sorts of things. So as far as a professional job, the sacrifices, I think, are quite worth it. So, yeah.
Well, you've had a great career, both as a player and a coach, and I'm wondering how long you're going to stay in Holland. Will we ever see you back in Brisbane?
Well, I'd love to come back to Brisbane one day. I sort of dream about it, but yeah, I sort of, I'm so committed with players like Nicole, and also I do really love the club I'm working at. It's a great environment. Yeah, I don't know. I just sort of live each day at a time and sort of think, well, I know the day that I stop enjoying it here, I'll come home, you know. I've sort of never tried to make too many plans ahead, you know. I just sort of think if it's right, it's right, and if it's not the time, then it's okay as well, you know. So we'll see. Love to spend a bit more time at home, though. You know, I'd like to sort of get towards, say, 3 months of the year in Australia and sort of the rest here for a little while. So
we'd love to see you. We miss you. And
yes.
Our loss is their gain. Congratulations once again on being inducted into the Squash Australia Hall of Fame.
Thanks very much, Peter.